Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you're all doing great. So, if you've not been up very long, or if you've not been on Discord, if you've not been on YouTube, then you may not have seen this news yet. But if you have been, you probably already seen this news. Basically, what I want to do is I want to go over the 10x event and the Guaranteed Champion event we're having coming up tomorrow. And then I want to go over a kind of champion guide. So if you clicked on this video, it's going to be a Madam Serris champion guide. She is the Guaranteed Champion for tomorrow. But I want to show you guys where I use her, if she's worth it for you to pull, and kind of my opinions overall about her. But take a look at this. Banana Jam posted this in the content creator chat this morning. Basically, this Friday, which is tomorrow, if at the time of this video being recorded, they're launching a 10x event for the following champions from Ancients, Voids, Ancients, Sacreds, and Voids. So Leoris, I don't know a ton about him. Seems like a good champion. If you're going for Madam in the guaranteed part down here, maybe you get him. I haven't seen like amazing situations with him in the arena, but I think he's kind of like a level up from Skullcrown. I can't give a ton of my opinions because I've never used him, but I think he's kind of like a level up because he gets that guaranteed that unkillable before he dies, plus he's immune to CC effects basically. So definitely a good champion if you do get him. Definitely a champion I wouldn't be upset about, and he seems to hit pretty hard. Mashald is actually an awesome champion. If I was closer to Mercy, I may actually go for him. He's actually a missing piece to a Clan Balls team that I could actually build with Mashald and Turvold, which I would actually like to do. Noble, honestly, if you get him, I don't think I would be super excited. Now, I don't have him. I do know some people who do have him, and there's really not much positive they've said about him, so hopefully we just dodge him and get Mashald instead. Elder Skarg is a very good champion for sure. If you have Kantra, Elder Skarg and Kantra have some pretty cool synergies together. Plus, if you're going through Barbarian Faction Wars, very, very good champion to have. Hits pretty hard. Good overall champion. If you get him, great. So Elder Skarg, Mashald are the two affinity-based champions that would be great to pull as far as legendaries. Noble, if you're trying to collect them all, not a terrible champion, I guess. I mean, if you're trying to collect them all, then I guess you'll take whatever you can get, right? It's a non-dupe, essentially. Inquisitor Shamel, very good single-target champion. Hits very, very hard. Good tank destroyer for the arena, essentially. Where is he at? Is he in the Night Revs? No. He's up here, maybe somewhere. Sacred Order. I think is where he's at. So yeah, I have a few of him. I have two of him built actually. His A2 ability attacks 3 times. If you get him paired up with some good buffs on your team, then he ignores 100% defense. Hits very, very hard. So basically any tank champion, so your Duchesses, Siffies, Vogoths, any champion like that, he's probably gonna eat right through them. So very good champion. For Salas Gravedirt, I don't really know much about him. To be honest, like he's a fairly newer champion. He was kind of like slipped in under the radar. He came out a while back. I take it back about, I don't know, this year. So he's not been out that long. He's not been tested out too much. Maybe I'll take a look at him, a deeper dive, but I don't think he's a top tier champion. But if you get him, hey, I guess you can't maybe test him out. Cornelia, I do like her. I think more people have uses for her. She's a solid champion, mass fearmonger, not a ton of use, to be honest. Cornelia, so basically if I was pulling, I would be hoping for Cornelia for my account, which I already have her. Mashald and Elder Skarg, both of those would be very, very good for me. My main one that I would be going for, though, I was really, really hoping for, is down here at the bottom, which is the guaranteed Madam Serris event. Now, Madam Serris, you just pull your, 30 Void Shards. So on your 30th Void Shard, you're guaranteed to get Madam Serris, which is literally awesome. So Fohawk from my stream has been trying for years to get Madam Serris from Void Shards. He's opened up Egimons, Sir Nyx, all kinds of legendaries, but not a single Madam Serris. So as soon as I see this morning, I had to message him, Fohawk, now's your time, dude. Now is your time to get your Madam Serris that you've been wanting for so long. He's been telling me he wasn't going to push Platinum Arena until he gets her. Well, now he's going to be able to push every single week. So you guys better watch out. If you're pushing Plat, he's coming. He has some pretty annoying teams, but either way, after 30 Void Shards, you're guaranteed to get Madam Serris, and your Mercy system won't reset. So you could pull Madam Serris and then pull another Madam Serris, basically, because the Mercy system for Epics isn't that crazy high. Now, I kind of wish they would have Miscreated Monster boost in this event as well, since he was a Halloween champion a while back. He's one of the only affinity-based champions, affinity type, like from Ancients or Sacreds, that I miss him. But either way, Madam Serris, I think for 99% of players, especially if you don't have her, is definitely worth going for. Now, I'm going to jump into talking about her. I actually have 2 of her. Honestly, I've built, I believe, 3 of her. So she's a champion who, even if you have one already, it's probably worth it going for a dupe. Now, keep in mind, that it may be a bait. I'm hoping this is a bait for a 10x Hegemon, maybe a Hegemon boosted event during CVC. That would be pretty cool. That's a champion I'm looking for. I'm not going to pull for Madame Serris. If I didn't have her, I 100% would be. So she's very, very well known for basically being a PvP goddess, basically. So she's amazing at PvP content, arena, super, super good. 3v3. Honestly, if you have one of her, great. If you have two of her, put her on both your 3v3 teams. If you have three of her, you may even be putting three of them in your 3v3 teams, especially if you're lower in 3v3. Such a very good champion and so easily fits into any of these teams. So no matter really what you have, she can pretty well find a spot in basically any of these teams. Now, I have one in mind right now. I could honestly throw her down here instead of Lydia. And there's a reason why you could actually use her instead of Lydia, and I'll go over that right now. So Lydia has a downside of hitting the enemy on her A2 ability. So she actually attacks. The downside of this is if the enemy slept, she wakes them up. If the enemy has the mastery where they increase the turn meter whenever they take damage, then that's another, with a crit, that's another chance to be boosted turn meter, mess up your speed tune. Because when you have your debuff champion, you want to make sure your team's speed tune, right? Because like if your debuffer does the debuff, so if Lydia does her decreased defense and weaken, and then all of a sudden the enemy gets boosted turn meter, they wake up from the sleep, then your DPS champion gets cut in on, then your whole plan falls apart basically. But with Madame Serris, this is the thing that I really, really love about her. Her A3 removes all buffs from enemies. So, I mean, most of you guys probably already know this, right? Madame Serris isn't a under-the-radar champion whatsoever. Very well known. But she removes all buffs from enemies, places decreased attack and decreased defense on all enemies for 2 turns. Only a 4-turn cooldown. Very, very good. I especially like this. Doesn't hit anybody, removes everything, places decreased attack and decreased defense. Short, simple, sweet, and to the point. Her A2 ability attacks all enemies, 40% chance of stealing 1 random buff from each target. Places block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns if any buff is stolen. Places a true fear debuff on 1 turn on enemies who have buffs stolen. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest and tell you that for A1 and A2, I really don't bring her because of those ever. They're good. This A2 ability does have a chance to remove 1 random buff, and it is a solid ability, right? But this is what I'm looking for, okay? In the arena, I'm looking to strip the enemy, apply that decreased defense, and then nuke. Other than that, I'm not that worried about these abilities. Honestly, it could be something else and I'd still think she's an amazing champion. Honestly, she could only have the A1 and the A3 and I would still think she's an amazing champion. Her A1 attacks one enemy, 20% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn. This chance increases to 30% if the target's under 1 debuff. This chance increases to 45% if the target is under 2 or more debuffs. And her passive ability places a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of her max HP at the start of each turn. When attacked while under shield buff, has a 35% chance of placing fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. So her entire kit is very, very solid. But the main thing that most people are going to be going for her for is this A3 ability. A3 ability is absolutely incredible in the arena. And if you have a champion like Kymar, I'll show you guys my arena team that I run all the time. You may think, okay, well, you got Kymar to do the strips, plus you have Madame Serris. Isn't that too many strips? Well, if this was like last year, or well, a few years ago before Swift Parry was out, yeah, that might be too many strips. Well, that kind of sucks because I'm not actually speed tuned with this team. But back then, that may have been too many strips. But now, it's really not. Because what happens pretty often with my team is I'll go, so my Sify would do her buffs right here. My Kymar will use his A2 ability, and his is less about the strip. So he's going to strip the shields. He's not crazy high accuracy. Madame Serris, and I'm going to get into her gearing and her masteries right after this fight, but she's built to strip, okay? She's built to strip the enemy, high accuracy, high speed. That's what her job is, right? Kymar, less, not so much. Madame, void affinity, and she doesn't hit the enemy. So you don't have to worry about weak hits. You don't have to worry about weak affinity, which affinity doesn't even matter if you're not even hitting the enemy. But she literally, as long as the accuracy checks and the 3% chance to be resisted doesn't play a factor, then you're good to go. Decrease attack, decrease defense on everybody, and it's a solid situation. Now here, basically having Kymar on my team, this makes it very, very safe. So pretend they did have a Swift Parry proc on their team. Well, my Sify would go again, my Kymar would take his turn, his sleep would be on cooldown, but he could reset everybody. He reset everybody, come back to Madame Serris re-strips, and we're good to go. So having those extra strips is very, very nice. Now, I did mention that her A2 ability was something I kind of looked over. And for my team, it doesn't really play much of a factor. But if you are having troubles with the swift parry procs in the arena, this A2 ability does have a chance of stealing the buff. So therefore, you can basically do the first turn, remove everything. If swift parries do proc, then you can hope that this actually does remove that buff. I guess this does get booked up to a 50% chance. So you got a decent percentage chance to actually remove that swift parry buff, actually steal it back. So she's a very solid champion in general to bring. Now, when it comes to her artifacts and her masteries, hopefully I'm not sitting too far away from my mic, but her artifacts, this build right here, this one is probably the most basic Madame Serris build. So farm your faction wars, get your perception gear. Basically, what you're going to want to do is put her as fast as she needs to be speed tuned with your nuker, okay? So you don't want, for example, you don't want Madame Serris to be 220 speed if your nuker is, say, 190, okay? Because what's going to happen is you're going to have such a big speed gap between the two that people could cut in. Now, for example, if your Madame Serris was like 260, which there's no reason for her to be that high, and your nuker was like 240, people probably aren't going to cut in because you're going to be speed tuned anyways. But say you went to Deadwood Jedi's speed calculator for the arena, the website, checked it out, you tuned everybody, and your nuker was just barely meeting the minimums. Like he needs to be 180 speed and you have him at 185 speed. Don't make your Madame Serris very far as the gap. Try to keep them pretty close. Another thing you want to keep in mind is the resistance, okay? So keep in mind, if the enemy does a turn meter decrease effect and your Madame Serris resists that, so her turn meter stays the same, and your DPS champion also resists that and the turn meter stays the same, you're good to go. But if your DPS champion, for example, has higher resistance than Madame, and they resist the turn meter reduction, but Madame Serris does not resist that turn meter reduction, then you're basically going to have the order swap. So Madame Serris is going to be here, going first, and then your DPS here, she gets reduced turn meter, she gets knocked back, and your DPS champion is going to be actually going before her and losing out on that decreased defense and decreased attack. So you want to make sure that Madame Serris has more resistance than your nuke champion, whoever that may be. Now, that's going to be a big deal, especially if you're working on your speed tune, you're trying to get everything close. Now, that's called resistance tuning your team, which is talked about sometimes. It's something that I found pretty annoying in my team. If I get messed up on that, it does kind of suck. Now, her speed is 194. My Solus is 190. He's also 194, but his base speed is 97. Madame Serris's base speed is 100, so therefore Madame Serris is going to get priority over Solus every time. This keeps them very close, so if there is some turn meter manipulation going on, they should still go right next to each other in turn order. Definitely rather have Madame Serris going before your DPS champion all the time, right? Because you don't want to be nuking into non-stripped and non-decreased defense champions if you have the option of actually stripping them, right? Now, once you get past the speed and the resistance, keeping the resistance in mind, accuracy is your next biggest thing, okay? So basically what I do is I try to get my Madame Serris to be as fast as possible, get her to be as accurate as possible, and then I adjust the resistance as needed, okay? So I try to pull back a little bit if I can, but I'm still keeping in mind speed tune is the most important. And then accuracy being very high is very, very important as well. This is why you want to be farming faction wars as much as you can, getting all the perception gear you can. Honestly, for my builds, I'm not even worried about her HP or defense. Her HP or defense is kind of irrelevant because I'm planning on her going before the enemy ever takes a turn, right? So if the enemy takes a turn, I'm probably going to get screwed. So this is a Madame Serris, a typical offense Madame Serris, not built to go against Torments, not built to go against anything like that, not built to go against Hegemons, none of that stuff. Literally a basic Madame Serris build that I think is going to be good for 90% of players out there. Now, this is very specific to PvP. I will show you her masteries as well. As far as PvE content goes, so like dungeons, land balls, things like that, Madame Serris isn't a great champion. There's better options out there. Now, you can definitely use her, but she's not very fast. Her animations are kind of slow. She's not very conducive to speed runs. Just in general, she's not a great PvE champion. If you have better options like Stag Knight, Duke, other decreased attack, decreased defense AoE champions, they're probably better options than her. Majority of the time, she's not used. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a newer player and you don't have a good decreased defense or decreased attack champion, Madame Serris is going to be amazing, okay? So if you have no other option, definitely bring her. I say it should go without being told. She does get big value from the books. Definitely, if you can, go ahead and book her. She is worth it. Getting this cooldown reduced, especially in PvE content, if you're going to use her in dungeons and stuff, you're going to feel a big difference between a 4-turn cooldown and a 6-turn cooldown. I remember back in the old days when she used to have a 3-turn cooldown, which is pretty crazy. But now she's 4-turn cooldown, still very, very good. So her mastery set up this. Now you'll notice I don't have this ability right here. I don't want this ability just because if she gets boosted in turn meter, it makes that gap between Solus and her again, and I don't want that gap to be there. So I want her to be as close to, I don't want anything affecting her turn meter as little as possible, so I want to keep them very close. Now, if you're using her in a team where the speed tune may not matter as much, maybe you can throw that ability on her, but I don't want her getting her turn meter boosted, nothing like that. So I don't have Cycle of Revenge on either one of my Madams. Now, this Madam Serris right here is basically in a similar, well, actually the same build. I think she was speed tuned to a bit faster team that I wasn't using Kymar in. Kymar allows me to kind of keep my teams a little bit slower. But ideally, another Madam Serris build that's very, very popular and that I had used for a while. This is not it. This is just kind of another meme Madam Serris build right here. This was one I was trying out for defense, and I'm still testing it out. Maybe I end up liking it. I need to see if I have another reaction ring. That could be pretty good. But basically, another Madam Serris build that's very popular is basically an immunity Madam Serris. Now, immunity gear is very, very good, but keep in mind, it's not the end-all be-all, right? So immunity, you're going to probably have to work your speed around that. You're going to have to work your accuracy around that. I would definitely try to get Madam Serris 500 plus accuracy if possible. Depending on where you're at, obviously you can skew that number, but 500 accuracy is kind of like lower end of Madam Serris build, especially with perception gear being out. It's very easy to get well over 500 accuracy without having to sacrifice too much of your gear. Now, immunity gear makes it a little difficult to hit those stat minimums, so make sure she's speed tuned and make sure her accuracy of gear is good. Also with immunity, you want to make sure your team either has somebody who functions well, pairs well with immunity, or make sure your entire team is in immunity gear. So I'll give you an example of a team that I'm using where I used to use an immunity Madam Serris in, and that would be against Hegemons, for example. Let's just pretend there was a Hegemon in here. Basically, what I would do is I would have say, immunity Madam Serris. I would bring an immunity Arbiter as well, because if most of the time with immunity gear, now this is not all the time, because there is specific use cases where you can definitely change this up, but most of the time it's either all or nothing if you're looking at a debuff champion like this. Now, obviously, if you have like a Skytouch Shaman immunity, she can cleanse everybody, place block debuffs, and then nobody has to be in immunity. Put her in immunity, and you're good to go. But in this situation, pretend this Madam Serris was in immunity, pretend this Arbiter was also in immunity gear. What I would do is I would either throw an immunity nuker, or I would throw a non-immunity nuker and a Necrit. Necrit will give Herndig immunity. Necrit doesn't necessarily need immunity gear, but Madam Serris does need it, Arbiter does need it, and then Herndig would need it as well. Necrit does his job. It doesn't really matter if we were going against a Hegemon who's going to do the decreased attack and the block cooldowns. Necrit's cooldowns don't particularly matter against that kind of team because that kind of team is probably going to be set up to be fairly squishy. As long as my Arbiter, Madam, and Herndig are all protected, that team should go pretty smooth. Immunity gear is something that you need to have planned for before you just throw it on a champion. If you just throw it on a champion, most of the time, it's not going to work out perfectly how you may have it planned. It can still do decent, but it is something definitely you want to keep in mind and plan around. You got to situate your team around having that setup to function the best way it possibly can. I've seen a lot of people just throw their champions in immunity, not really have a plan for it, and it doesn't really work out great. Now, obviously, that could work very well against Torment teams as well. You want to make sure that nobody gets frozen. Just throw your whole team in immunity. Or, of course, I mean, there's other strategies you can do. I don't want to get into that too much in this video. This video is mostly just talking about Madam Serris, going for her during the Guaranteed Champion event, which if you have 30 Void Shards, I think this is your best bet. I mean, you could pull a Man-Eater. You're not getting 2x, not Ancients. If you have 30 Voids, you're not getting 2x Void Shard event going on here, but you're guaranteed to get a good champion. You're guaranteed to get a champion who, if you're going for her, I assume you want her and that you like the idea of having Madam Serris, then you're getting a guaranteed champion you know you're going to use, you know you're going to enjoy, and you're not going to reset your mercy system when you pull her as an epic champion. So you could pull her and then another epic right after her or another epic right before her, and it's not going to make a difference. So definitely, if you guys have saved up 30 Void Shards, if you have a little bit of money and you're super close on Void Shards, I think now would be actually the time to go ahead and if you are interested in spending, to spend if they have some good Void offers. If I didn't have Madam Serris, I definitely would be doing it, especially if I'm interested in doing PvP. making arena easy. You're making 3v3 easier. If you only have one of them, maybe picking up two of them would be a very good idea. If you have two of them, maybe it's not even a bad idea to get three of them. Definitely two is worth it. Three, maybe not as much, but definitely two of them is very much worth it depending on how your 3v3 teams are situated. But overall, guys, good luck. Hopefully you pull Madam and then something else really awesome, right? Hopefully you pull maybe a Hegemon or a Warlord or something else crazy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all very much for watching. Good luck with your pulls this weekend, and I will catch you in the next video.